81 Days with the Tao. Day 1. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the enduring name. That which cannot be named is the eternal reality. Free from desires, one can perceive the mysteries. Bound by desires, one can only see the manifestations. The hidden mysteries and the visible forms both arise from the same source. This source has been called darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. The Tao that can be spoken. When we start reading the Tao Te Ching, the first question that comes to mind is, what is the Tao? We look for a definition, a description, or an explanation that can give the Tao shape, color, and structure. Maybe that's why Lao Tzu begins the very first text with this sentence.
Why? Because language is always limited. When you name something and define it, you are placing it inside a frame. For example, when you say love, everyone forms a different image in their mind, but the experience of love itself is much greater than the word love. Imagine trying to describe a taste of mango to someone who's never tasted it. No matter how much you explain, they won't truly understand it until they experience it themselves. The Tao is the same. It must be lived, not just explained. The eternal Tao will not be, meaning what you have defined and described is only a temporary and incomplete version of reality. Living truth is constantly in motion, but when you turn it into words, it's as if you have taken a photograph of a moment of life. A photograph is not life itself. It is not alive. Suppose someone asks you, what kind of person are you exactly? Any description you give of yourself, that you are kind, introverted, sensitive, or possess some other trait is only part of who you are. No sentence can fully explain a living human being. Today you have a certain understanding of yourself, and 5 years from now, that understanding may be completely different. There is a strong possibility that life will later break apart that definition. So you are greater than any definition. Tao says, the truth of the universe is the same way. You can never have a complete, all-encompassing and permanent explanation of it. The Tao that can be defined is not the eternal Tao, meaning whatever you have defined and described is only a temporary and incomplete version of reality. Living truth is constantly flowing, but when you turn it into words, it's as though you've taken a photograph of a single moment of life. A photograph is not life itself. It is not alive. Imagine someone asks you, what kind of person are you exactly? Any explanation you give about yourself, that you are kind, introverted, sensitive, or possess some particular trait, is only a part of you. No sentence can fully explain a living human being. Today you have a certain understanding of yourself, and 5 years from now that understanding may be completely different. There is a good chance that life itself will eventually shatter that definition. So you are greater than any definition of yourself. Tao says, the truth of the universe is like that too. You can never have a complete, all-encompassing and permanent explanation of it. The Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. If we look at this sentence from another angle and explore the message hidden within it, we could say that Lao Tzu is warning us, be careful. Don't think that you have understood the truth simply because you can talk about it. Very often people talk about love, yet they are not in love. Talk about spirituality, yet it has no real expression in their lives. Talk about life, yet they are not truly living. Tao is much more like tasting than explaining. The more you try to explain it through words, the more you confine it within the limits of your own mind. The name that can be named is not the enduring name. Here, Lao Tzu is expanding on the same idea from the previous sentence, but at a deeper level. This time, he is referring directly to names, the name that can be named, meaning anything you can give a name is no longer the complete and infinite reality itself, because the moment you give something a name, you create boundaries around it and limit it. Names and labels certainly help us understand the world more easily, but at the same time, they also make the world smaller for us. For example, when you call someone successful, a failure, intelligent, lazy, spiritual, depressed, you may think that you have understood who they are, but people are far more complex than the names and labels we place on them. Human beings have many dimensions, and most importantly, they are constantly changing, and this idea can be extended to everything that exists in the universe. A name is only a label. It is not the truth itself. That which cannot be named is the eternal reality. Here we arrive at the heart of what Lao Tzu is saying. He tells us the deepest truths lie beyond names. What kind of things? True silence, presence, deep love, awareness, being, the feeling of becoming one with life. These can be experienced, but they cannot be fully expressed in words. In short, Lao Tzu is saying names are tools, not truth. The problem begins when we mistake the name for the reality itself. Free from desire, one can perceive the mysteries. Bound by desire, one can see only the manifestations. This is one of the most important and deeply human teaching in Taoism, because it goes straight to something that encompasses almost our entire lives. Desire. But here's the key point. Lao Tzu is not saying that having desires is bad. He is talking about not being enslaved by desire. These two states are separated by a very subtle line, and we'll talk more about that as we continue. Free from desire, one can perceive the mysteries. This means that when your mind is not constantly occupied with acquiring, achieving, controlling, or proving itself, you become able to see a deeper layer of life. You begin to understand things that cannot be seen through haste, greed, or craving. For example, when you want something very intensely, your entire mind becomes narrowly focused and sees only a single, straight path. You see only the result, you see only your goal, you see only what is lacking. But when you loosen your grip a little, suddenly you begin to notice things that were hidden before, things that can never even caught your attention. Have you ever searched for something you've misplaced, only to find that harder you try, and the more frustrated you become, the less likely you are to find it? Then, when you give up for a moment, relax, and let it go, suddenly there it is. This isn't just true for lost objects. In many ways, it's how the human mind works. Anxiety narrows the field of vision. Letting go, on the other hand, opens it. What does the word mysteries mean here? It does not mean magical secrets. Rather, it refers to the deeper layers of life. Understanding other people, understanding yourself, inner peace, the natural flow of events, a sense of connection, seeing the truth behind appearances. These are not things that can be seen through force, insistence, or sheer effort. One must become free from attachment to outcomes and achievements in order to perceive them. Does letting go mean being emotionless? Certainly not. In Taoist thought, letting go means not being attached. It means being able to love without trying to possess, strive without being destroyed by failure to achieve, desire something without becoming its slave. Lao Tzu is saying, when you are trapped by your desires, you see only the surface of life. But when you free yourself even a little from the grip of greed, fear, and attachment, the hidden depths of life gradually begins to reveal itself. The hidden mysteries and the visible manifestations both arise from the same source. This sentence is very important. It means appearance and essence, the seen and the unseen, matter and meaning, thought and silence, good and bad people, joy and sorrow, all emerge from the same underlining flow. Imagine standing on a beach, watching the waves on the sea. Each wave has its own form. One is calm, one is turbulent, one is large, one is small. If you look only at the waves, you might think they are separate from one another, but the truth is that they all came from the same ocean. Lao Tzu says that people and events are much the same. Their appearances differ, but their roots are one. We usually see people like this. The person is successful. This one is a failure. This one is kind. This one is selfish. But Lao Tzu says, look a little deeper. All of these people experience fear, desire love, search for meaning, carry wounds, hold on to hope. In other words, beneath their outward differences, there is a shared humanity, a human being, much like everyone else. The hidden mysteries and the visible manifestations both arise from the same source. This sentence is very important. It means appearance and essence, the seen and the unseen, matter and meaning, thought and silence, good and bad people, joy and sorrow, all emerge from the same underlining flow. Imagine standing on a beach, watching the waves on the sea. Each wave has its own form. One is calm, one is turbulent, one is large, one is small. If you look only at the waves, you might think they are separate from one another, but the truth is that they all came from the same ocean. We usually see people like this. The person is successful. This one is a failure. This one is kind. This one is selfish. But Lao Tzu says, look a little deeper. All of these people experience fear, desire love, search for meaning, carry wounds, hold on to hope. In other words, beneath their outward differences, there is a shared humanity, a human being, much like everyone else. The source has been called darkness. Here, darkness does not mean evil or something negative. In Taoist thought, darkness refers to the source of creation, something that cannot yet be fully seen or explained, like a mother's womb before birth, the night before dawn, silence before music, a seed beneath the soil. Darkness means the source from which everything emerges, while itself remaining only partially visible. Why didn't he call it light? Because light usually means something that can be seen clearly, but Tao says that the deepest truth cannot be fully seen. Whenever you think of yourself, aha, I understand now, I've completely grasped it. You've probably seen only its surface. More broadly, these final lines point toward unity. They suggest that good and bad, light and darkness, appearance and essence, are all parts of a greater whole. This means that life should not be viewed as fragmented into separate and disconnected pieces. Light emerges from the heart of darkness. Sometimes a person's greatest growth comes out of suffering. In the moment, we see that suffering as something bad, but years later we realize that it awakens something within us. In that sense, even darkness was a part of the same current of life, darkness within darkness. This phrase is a masterpiece. It means that even the unknown itself contains deeper layers of the unknown. In other words, truth is endless. Truth is endless. Have you ever thought that you knew yourself well, only for something to happen in your life that made you say, no, I never knew this side of myself existed? For example, falling in love, losing someone dear to you, experiencing failure, or suddenly discovering a courage within yourself that you never knew you had. Human beings are layered. Life is the same way. Truth is the same way as well. Lao Tzu says the deeper you go, the more depth there is still to be found. Darkness within darkness. the gateway to understanding. This means accepting that you do not know everything is the beginning of real understanding, because most people think they fully understand themselves, other people, and the different dimensions of life. And it is precisely this illusion of knowing that prevents them from seeing and understanding the truth. But when a person encounters the unknown, they become more humble. They pay closer attention. They observe more carefully. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have the answer for everything? They have opinions about love, politics, people, success, spirituality. Yet, very often those same people learn the least and understand the least because their minds have become closed. They are caught in the illusion of knowledge and believe that what they know is absolute truth. But someone who still feels wonder, who still observes the world and its events with a spirit of inquiry, can continue moving toward understanding. Lao Tzu says, the door to understanding opens through not knowing, not through complete certainty that you already know. Real understanding begins when you realize that life is far greater than your current understanding of it.